Well, hello, Neftorious Nation. I'm here with another founder story. I'm really excited to talk about one of my favorite projects on the blockchain, and that's JunkYard Dogs. And without further ado, let me bring Chef, one of the co-founders of JunkYard Dogs, up to the stage. Chef, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing fantastic, Creatorius. How about you? Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor and a privilege.
Well, you know what? My honor to have you here. I've been observing you from afar for a long time, so I knew
Oh,
about you
really?
guys pre-mint. So I kept seeing you in the Discord channel, making lots of comments. This is one of my earlier mints. I did V Friends in the spring and
Oh, good for
it
you.
looked at a couple different things, but this was one of the ones I was excited about, and I still didn't know how to play the Gas Wars and the Mint Day.
Mm,
I got boxed out, but I immediately bought in secondary. There's a whole nother conversation about that. But I
yes,
think you guys didn't you sell it in like 3 minutes?
it was lightning fast. It was lightning fast. I like to say like less than 10 minutes, to be safe because I don't know exactly how fast it happened, but it was nigh instantaneous. I also, for the record, I also didn't mint. The entire team attempted to mint at the same time, you know what I mean, as everybody else, and
Really?
only maybe two out of eight of us was successful. Two or Gas Wars is this? Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, sure. Well, I tell you
Yeah,
what, let's talk about Gas Wars in a second, but why don't we talk just really quickly about what the project is so we orient everybody who's not that are not familiar with the project.
sure. Okay, so Junkyard Dogs is a an animated avatar profile picture project. It is a collection of 8,008 dog tokens. Each one is unique. They are randomly generated using an algorithm that weighs certain traits as more rare than others to create a unique cast of really spunky, interesting, funny, cartoony dogs that have a wide variety of features from, fantastical ones like Medusa hair to
Correct.
sci-fi ones like a cyborg eye. And they live in a society. It's like 2049. Okay, all the humans have left the Earth because Doge the Deliverer has taken them to the moon. It's kind of a play on words, but we really worked that into the story. That was one of Sloth's ideas. And yeah, so the junkyard dogs live in the junkyard. Why do dogs live in the junkyard? They do that because that's like where treasure is underneath every corner. The dogs, they're builders, they're
Yes.
diggers, they're finders, they're crafters. And so, what better place than to be in a junkyard where, underneath every pile is something different, new and unique. And so like that's kind of where they find themselves. And on a more practical note, I would say that the Junkyard Dogs is a social club surrounded by centered around the theme of NFTs and NFT enthusiasm. Once you have a junkyard dog in your wallet, you can come into our Discord and verify with our Collabland bot, and that unlocks certain member only channels where people can discuss a wide variety of topics, from alpha to personal things in their life to whatever it is. I'd like to say that I think Junkyard Dogs is a really great beginner friendly community because most of the people who hang out in the Discord, they're really welcome and open to all kinds of newcomer questions and helping each other out. And one of my favorite channels is the Alpha Dogs channel, where we're trying to help each other get the edge and stuff like that. So yeah.
Yeah, that's great. It is a very welcoming community. It's one of the things I really like about it. In fact, it's really well aligned culturally with some of the things we're doing at Neftorious. So
Oh, cool.
I kind of feel like kindred spirits. I've definitely watched what you've done, and taken some tips and pointers from it. It's definitely a cool community. So we have, and so by the way, I've been a junkyard dog holder since day one because I bought in secondary right after the mint because I wanted to get one right away, and then I've accumulated several since then.
Oh, awesome.
Because, well, I think the first couple I just bought like some of the first ones that were available that I sort of liked. It was before there was any rarity or anything.
Right, right.
But then I realized I saw some of the animated gifs, and I was like, oh, those are pretty cool. Like, and so I wound up picking up a couple of those. So now I just like I have a bunch. just been,
Well,
it's one of those things. They just wind up, like, oh, now I can't get rid of it. I like it too much.
what's cool about that, Creatorius, is that it's going to be the NFT that keeps on giving. I'm sure you know this already as a dog holder, but with the scrap rewards program, basically we are going to be airdropping you one scrap for every dog that you have unlisted. So if you have them all listed, then you're probably not going to get any scrap. But What we're trying to do is create an interactive NFT creation program, and that's really rolling out in its glory. I would say this month we are doing a Halloween junkyard pup project. There's
Yes.
going to be 6,000 pups. 5,000 will be available to be crafted only through scrap. 1,000 of those will be available to be purchased for 0.06 ETH on the day of. And, they're really cool. There's 28 costumes, there's 15 furs, let's see, I think 6 backgrounds, and they're going to allow holders to actually gain 1 scrap every 2 weeks. And so there's some added utility in there. And I guess what I'm trying to say is this is just one of many of a wide variety of projects that we're working on
Uh-huh.
for like scrap buildables. Okay, things that you can build in the furnace. Of course, you're familiar with the K9000, I'm sure. This is
Mhm.
meant to be a really difficult goal to achieve. It's supposed to be something that takes a long time, and that's why nobody has been able to achieve it yet. Actually, one person so far shocked me. He has been made ready to mint a K9000. However, we're not actually ready completely on our side to mint the very first one. So he has his place in history. We will honor him and give him the accolades when that time comes. It was shocking. It's supposed to be a long, at least a several month progress and project. And if you have one dog, it would take you a couple of years to build a K9000. And that seems ridiculous, but there's lots of other smaller attainable goals in between then and there. And what we're trying to create is an interesting system where people have choices. They make choices with the resources that they receive, and they get something of value out of that. Well, so
Yeah.
yeah.
It is a game, but it's in this way, it's not a game, and that a lot of people think of like a console game, but it's absolutely a game. And why don't you tell people about the K9000 and just some of the other things that we have going on? So you mentioned pups, but the way that we're going to be using scrap, because I think you mentioned a number of those things in your town hall last week where you and I talked for a couple minutes, and just lay it out for them, because I know a little bit about it. I probably don't know as much as everybody, but I know a
Okay.
lot. But most of the people listening probably won't be familiar with the project.
Yeah. Sure. Of course. Okay. So the K9000 is okay. So the scrap system, basically, you hold a dog in your wallet, you get airdropped 1 scrap NFT on the Matic network. That's Polygon. Every week, and it goes right into your wallet. It's on Matic so that the transaction is almost gasless. It doesn't
Right.
cost you anything. It doesn't cost us anything. You can then go to the Junkyard Dogs website, junkyarddogs.io, click on the Forge tab, and what you have is this kind of animated user interface where you see the forge, and you can load your scrap up, and you can combine scrap together to make scrap of like a higher tier, like a level 2 or level 3. And in order to get the K9000, you need, I'm actually embarrassed, I don't know offhand exactly how many scraps you need, but you need the highest level scrap, and you need to create the blueprint, and there's a spray can involved where you can color it with like the according to the dog fur rarities. Okay, so the only a very few amount will be allowed to be pearlescent. Less will be, some will be gold, some will be copper or silver or whatever, less
Yeah.
rare ones. But yeah, so that's it's the K9000 is in the Junkyard Dogs lore, this legendary figure who shows up during one of their celebrations out of this like kind of time portal. Okay, he's sent back in time. It's very cartoony. I actually wrote the story, and I copied some elements from obvious pop culture. You know what I mean? There's some Terminator and Dragon Ball Z, and you know what I mean. But
Right.
basically, the Terminator dog steps through the portal, and he has this warning for the dogs that if they don't take their lives seriously and organize, then they'll be overrun by the cats and all the other mutant animal races of the universe. And so that's who this Terminator dog is. He's a gritty hero. He's a forewarning character. And as far as like the story and the IP goes, I'm going to tell you this is actually going to be a first here just for your show. We
Sure.
are working on a comic. I have a very good friend who's worked on professional comics. He's worked on Marvel. I'm not going to tell you his name yet. He's the real deal. He does a really great job, and he's working on turning our history page into a graphical representation, the 3 pages full color. It's going to be fantastic. I'm actually hoping that we can continuously do a comic series for him, and the comic will be a scrap buildable project. Okay. And there will be a small amount for sale, but we want the vast majority of all of the buildables that we create to go to the people who are receiving scrap. Obviously we have to make revenue some way, so it's very likely that there will be probably 10 to 15% of the supply available for sale for ETH, but that's because running this project is actually really expensive. A lot of people don't understand. They just see the Discord and they don't understand the amount of employees and salaried workers that are working behind the scenes, be it on art or development side or marketing. It's really, we have kind of an army working here at JunkYard Dogs, globally, networking. It's kind of funny. Our office is a Discord. You know what I mean? That's where I meet with all the other employees every day. You know what I mean? From the comfort of my computer. And so it's pretty cool. But we have one full, just in case anybody's wondering, we have one full-time developer. This guy is a pro. He's a genius. He does a lot of stuff for us, and he's been with us since the very beginning. And I'm pretty sure we are about to add actually a second full-time developer to our roster. It's kind of hard for one guy. I think even as talented and as genius as one person is, it's too much to have everything thrown at you. And there's actually kind of a constantly revolving priorities list, which I think is really difficult. As a chef, if somebody was constantly changing the goal line and the lists of things that I needed to do and prioritize day to day, I would be miserable and frustrated. So adding a second guy to our roster is really going to make us a powerhouse as far as that goes. We also have an expansive art team. We have the original art team with the artist who created the JunkYard Dogs and his team of animators and artists working with him in Colombia. They are working on the JunkYard pups and all things related to that. We also have an animator who's on our team, and he is making a lot of, you saw the JunkYard Dogs animated short. He's been making some other animated things that haven't been released yet. We have a graphics designer on the team who's helping us with our branding and our IP, and we're actually going to be coming out with a lot of like a visual roadmap, that I'm really excited to show you guys. That's B-Train, actually, if you're unfamiliar. We announced that in the Discord, and I just want to make it clear that early on, we wanted to hire dog holders, like we're talking about economy and business, and you know what I mean, keeping it in the family, I guess, is something that was really important to me and important to the team. And so it's been really great to be able to bring B-Train on and have the community managers working with us, and advising us and helping us to steer the ship. And so it's been awesome. But yeah, there's a huge workforce going on to produce high quality content and to develop the brand. Anyway, I'm excited. I'm excited for the future, Creatorius. That's all I could say. It's really awesome. I hope you can tell I'm brimming with enthusiasm, about what we're doing, and it's fun. Every day feels like an adventure, so
yeah, well, I think a lot of people are enthusiastic about it. It's the art is excellent, and we have the scrap, but there's a scene that you've dropped. There's a few other things. So we've gotten a lot, as dog holders. We've gotten a lot already.
Yeah. The banner airdrop. I forgot. We paid a really talented concept artist to create that elaborate scene. With a lot of reference images. Kind of getting custom artwork done like that. It's not cheap. You know what I mean? And we really tried to not hold back. And we also have some other scenes coming too. I just saw the next one is even better than the first one. So yeah.
And the animated short, you're talking about the one with the
musical one. Yeah, Doge the Deliverer.
The sea shanty. That is, by the way, that's amazing. Did you write that? Who wrote that?
So I wrote it. It is a parody of the Wellerman sea shanty. Okay, I want to give credit where credit is due. I didn't come up with the tune. But the
parody of something. So
yeah, of course. The lyrics are mine. I would say the directing and the production, that was Sloth. He had this vision for the video itself, and the art team were the ones who brought it to life. And so it was kind of a group team effort. But I did the voice lines actually here with my wife. I sang it. My wife sang it. She's
You
a
sang it?
professional. I sang it. Yeah, that's me. My wife is also the female part, and our very good friend Andrew. He was the double bass voice, and we recorded it all here in our studio at my house. And it was a she's a pro. You would never know that we did it here, but that's because it's what she does for work. And so I kind of like, hey honey, will you help me record this video? And so now she's a fan. She loves working on the project with me. You know what I mean? Now it's kind of like
That's
a
amazing.
sweetheart thing. So I try not to throw too much stuff at her at once, but it's really fun producing this stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, and I think this is just this is a good point. I think a lot of people who, when you're on the outside, and I probably was there too, that you look at this thing and it's usually like 4 dudes, 2 months, mint, right? And you think, oh, well, that's good. Well, it takes a lot more people than that for sure, because there's just so many different skill sets that are required. Plus, when you bring in, you start to bring thousands of people into a Discord channel. You've got to do Twitter as well. You're doing collabs. For us, we're doing a mint pass and PFP. So that's like a
Oh
whole
yeah.
whole nother, and the mint passes are all unique. Well, not all of them, but there's 13 collections within it. And you do that, and then you've got Solidity for the contract. You've got the integration with the website. And then there's just big coordination thing. So it's literally a dozen people. You need
Yeah,
to have
it's a
their attention to
monumental
make it
task.
happen.
It's a monumental task, without a
Well,
doubt.
well, and then the next thing is you want to make sure you're hoping that you not only have a full mint, but you also have some secondary, because then I think everyone in the community would want you to then have enough funding to keep the team together, to grow the team, to provide more value. So I definitely thought it would be a little bit less effort than it was, but as
Mm.
soon as we got a week into it, I modeled it out. I was like, oh yeah, this is a good sized startup, and it's
Yeah,
got to run
yeah.
off the mint for basically a year.
And I think you really hit it on the head. Um, when we launch these profile picture projects or whatever the collection project, look, if you're trying to sell 8,000 pieces at once, this is pre-funding. This is kind of a startup. You're funding a dream and a vision, in a non-traditional sense. Where the buyers aren't shareholders, but they can be members. They can be founders and participants.
It's
And
like a
so
Kickstarter.
yeah. With I feel like with a more intimate connection with the project,
Absolutely.
you know what I mean? And so that's very cool. But yeah, it is hard, and the work that comes after minting is even more tremendous than beforehand, because once you're given all these resources, you're now tasked with building that which it is that you promised, and geez, making promises is easy, but following through with them, you know what I mean? That's actually a whole
Right.
nother ball game, and so we've been working diligently. I'd say hundreds and hundreds of man hours go into Junkyard Dogs on the regular. And yeah, I, I'm not I'm not worried about the project at all. I think we're just going to keep building. And um there was a kind of a worrisome moment when dog holders were trending down, and yeah, it was kind of a troublesome time. We weren't doing well with marketing. I can admit errors where they were made, where we were doing a lot of building and a lot of working behind the scenes. But honestly, because this space is so competitive, we don't want to reveal our ideas before we're ready to roll out with them, because we don't want them to be stolen. It happens so fast. There are people
Oh,
just waiting to pounce on a good idea. And so, I think there was a time when we were a little bit too tight-lipped about telegraphing what we were working on and what we were doing, and that hurt us a little bit. But the good news is that we were doing things that whole time. We never stopped building. This is a
right.
project with meat and bones and legs and the whole shebang. You know what I mean? And so, I'm really pumped about that. I can't feel any other way. And our dog holders actually it bounced off of a certain number, and it started growing again. And we never really dropped a significant percentage of holders either. We're holding right around the floor level. If everybody could delist their dogs at point one, that would be fantastic. But I can't control that. And but our other KPIs, they're doing well. And I think that yeah, I'm sorry. I can run
No,
on,
it's all
my
right.
friend.
No, no,
So
no.
I
Like,
apologize. Go ahead.
let me ask you a different question, and I sort of want to lead up to that. But we were talking before about this idea that people who are just collectors don't really have much perspective on what's involved, and you just touched on this a little bit here. when did you guys start? Let's talk about the timeline and then what you guys did, like each, you could do week, month, whatever the period is you want, just so you give people that sense of what it was like from ideation, conception through mint, and then we can talk about post mint.
Well, for as much work as I said it is, we did throw this whole thing together rather quickly. There's a saying in NFTs that a week feels like a month.
Yeah.
Okay. And I swear to God, a more true statement has never been said. I feel like my journey in this space has been hyper focused and accelerated to where, every day has just been, mind expanding and network expanding and just full of growth. So, it's a great time to be alive. Bringing that back to Junkyard Dogs, we are all NFT collectors that met surrounding a certain NFT project. I would say late February, very early March. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We met in the main chat room, and you know, I had kind of created a little group of thinkers and traders and notables, and pulled them aside, and we kind of created our own little group, and this was our own clubhouse, the original NFT community that we had built. And after, you know, I'd say 2 months of that, we'd all become just really good friends, sharing alpha, uh, uh, working together, trades, just talking like this. This is kind of a lonely space, and I think what a lot of people probably understand subconsciously is that we're coming from a post-pandemic society
Right.
where everybody's been kind of locked up and isolated, and we're all craving community, we're craving friendship. And so for the people that are discovering NFTs, they're finding a lot of that unexpectedly, and it makes them really gravitate towards that. And so that's what happened. That's how we all met each other. We just kind of clung to each other as friends. And so when Bored Apes came around, God damn it, if I didn't have the opportunity to mint a Bored Ape, and I turned my nose at it because I did not see the value in these generative profile picture projects. I had the alpha brought to me. I turn my nose at it. I think about it probably every day. I try not to, because that was a pretty big mistake. But, boom, all of a sudden, profile picture projects became a thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Bored Apes came. I don't know who came out after that. I mean, it was CryptoPunks first, right? And I think
Right.
somewhere in there we have to give VFriends credit also, because VFriends did the first, picture, project. They weren't generative, they were all hand drawn, but he kind of created this membership token concept and made it provable, right? And I really want to give Gary V credit where it's due, but then Bored Apes came out, then the next project came out, then the next project, and again, I'm turning my nose at it. My friends are making tons of money. I am like, it's derivative. This is a derivative of a derivative. You know what I mean? Like, where's derivative of derivative? You know what I mean? Like, where does it stop, right? But it didn't stop. And at this point, we're like, well, what's going on here? And we looked deeper, and what we're seeing is, membership communities, and we're also seeing the formula. And as NFT traders, connoisseurs, experts, whatever you want to call it, we see, I guess what you can say, the product that's being put out there, and we say, hey, we can do better than this. A lot of this is really low effort crap. A lot of this isn't good. And so immediately, Sloth, he's the founder of JunkYard Dogs. He's the one who had the galvanizing ideas to bring everybody together to, create the team. So he introduced the first animal. It was goats. We went through a couple goat drawings. It did not stick. So that kind of fell apart. And then he came back with these Frenchie drawings, and that is I would say the inside is completely the other artist. The outside, that the ears and the ugliness of the dog, like that was Sloth. He doodled this first Frenchie, and it was like, yes, okay, that is the Junkyard Dog. And from there, we all rallied around him, and we all represented different levels of expertise and scope and responsibility. Also, many of us have full-time jobs, some of us don't, so our ability to contribute varied. And but we pulled together and we made it happen. So timeline, we meet late February, early March. By mid-May, we're talking about making a project, and it's by, we'd hoped to launch July. I actually don't even remember what our actual launch date is. I I know we missed our first target, and that is because what we set out to do was really aggressive. So at the time, when JunkYard Dogs was conceived, there was no dog profile picture projects. Okay, it was
That's
gut wrenching. it it was gut wrenching when Bored Apes Kennel Club came out. Okay,
Yeah,
just a
sure.
punch in the face, like, and at that time we felt like we were so close to minting too. We had some hangups, but we really thought that we were going to be able to mint the 888 and be the first dogs. But as you know, we were trying to do something different, and that was the animations. See, a lot of people don't realize how difficult animations are. There's been other projects that attempted, minor animations before us, these pixel doges, but we were really the first animated profile picture project to do the full, finger FU, you know what I mean, with the blinking
Yeah.
eyes, and you know what I mean. It's complex. There's a lot of layers there, and it's 2D. It's hand drawn art. This is a real process, and they're all, I think, like 55 frames per second or something like that. And so there's a lot, or I think maybe 55. I don't know. I don't want to be misquoted here, but there's a lot of frames that goes into making something like that. And so when you combine the generative aspect with the animated aspect, it was very labor intensive, very time intensive. And add that with the hands motions. The hands, oh my God, they gave us the biggest problem. Do you want to know why nobody does hands? Okay, it's because hands are probably the biggest headache for an artist. Okay, so
Yes.
Junkyard Dogs is special in that regard. We attempted something ambitious artistically, and I think it really pulled off. For in my opinion, anyhow, they look good. You can see that it's a high effort project. Yeah, sorry. All right, I'll
Yeah, no
go ahead.
problem. I was trying to figure out what day it was. Was it August 8th? It was right at the beginning of August. Um,
Oh, okay. So May, June, July. Yeah, I think our initial launch date was like early July, mid July, and then it got pushed back, a full 5 weeks or something like that.
yeah. It was, I'm pretty
And
sure it was the first week in August. And I
we
mean,
kept,
you had 8008, so maybe it was on August 8th. We'll just say that.
yeah, it kept getting pushed back because we wanted to make sure it was all or nothing. After the first set of delays, we didn't want to come out with an incomplete project where maybe the animations weren't working yet or something like that. We originally set up to do 888, and then it was like, all right, either all the 8008 are done or they're not. And to anybody who's wondering about how delays are like this, if you work with an artist, just watch out, because you're going to say, hey, I'm going to be done this by a certain time. And, sometimes they're just not done. And then what are you going to do? What are you going to say? You know what I mean? Like, you're going to believe them when they tell you the next deadline too. And, I mean, these creative guys, a lot of them are geniuses, but yeah, sometimes just things happen here and there. And
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's working with true artists. They want things to be masterful, and yeah, sometimes there's delays. It's just how it goes. So be prepared when you're working with your own artist, for that kind of
Yeah,
interaction.
absolutely. That's good. Well, I do have one of the ones where it actually flashes the peace sign.
Oh,
That
cool.
was, I wound up buying that a couple weeks later, and it's got a Bitcoin hat too, which I kind of like.
Oh, cool.
Leopard fur. So a really cool one. I like that one. I have another one too that I sort of use more with folks, which is maybe I don't know if I shared it with you, but it's he's got a cigar, he's got glasses, and a ninja outfit. So
Oh, cool. It's funny. Everybody smoking is so cool when somebody else is doing it. You know what I mean? That's why I love the smoking dogs. What can I say?
I do too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So basically, I mean, you guys had some ideation and things like that, but it took 3 months to get it out the door.
Yeah, truthfully, it did, because we fell short of our initial goal, and it did
Well,
take us a full month after that to.
I have to say I'm happy that that's true. I mean, because I'm trending at 3 months now.
Yeah,
I was hoping to get it out this month, but it was
sure,
very clear after the first 3 or 4 weeks. I was like, oh,
right.
this, just getting everyone oriented on the team and everyone aligned in the same direction, and then trying
The,
recruiting
th-
other
the
folks.
thing is, you could rush it out, right?
And
You could
people
you
have,
could put out a horrid aberration version of your idea, right? That's nothing at all like what you really wanted to do, and you could do that, but it wouldn't be something that you're proud of, that works really well, and you're right, people have done that, and I think kudos to you, because just on the general space, I think we're experiencing is an explosion in possibilities and creativity. But that's because there's a lot of money. There's a lot of money flowing
yeah,
in the space, and if you can present your ideas the right way, you can get funding to execute that. So the projects that will last, that have value, those are the ones that are just legitimately building. You know, I hate to be poetic, but you know, the cream will rise to the top. You know, separate the wheat from the chaff. Like that will happen eventually. That'll probably be the bear market whenever that comes. I'm not trying to flood anybody, but like, you know, we will see when the enthusiasm recedes, what kind of projects remain. You know, and I think it will be really telling. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Okay, so between May and August, uh, so did you guys break it up into work streams, or were you all working to sort of on the same things together, just in sequence? How did you do it?
A lot of group calls, lots of group calls. Probably wasn't the most efficient way. We did break things up into obviously individual areas of responsibility. My initial role, although it's expanded greatly, was the Discord and the community and engaging people. So from day one, you know, that's why you saw me in the beginning, because
Yeah.
you know, and that's also the kind of person I am in general, right? So that role fit me well, whereas others were in charge of art and you know, directing the art or the social media, or you know, trying to work on merch, well, which I'm so sorry still hasn't appeared yet, but um,
Oh,
it's coming. I swear, someday we will have merch, and it'll be the best merch that you've ever seen. But you know, so people were working definitely in their own individual scope. Sloth is he's the master strategist, the one who's, you know, making sure all the parts are working together cohesively, you know, in a good manner. And believe it or not, Discord is our, like I said, it's our office. I use Discord as a management tool. You know, you make channels for tasks that are live, for conversations that need their own thread. You
mhm,
close them down when they're done. You
right.
archive what needs archived. You know, you keep it clean. It's like a living, breathing organization. So then things get broken up into subsections. So we had a public relations channel, or like subcategory with, you know, the website, the Twitter, the marketing, you know, the social media. Then we had a design team with, you know, 3 channels for the different backgrounds, the metaverse plans, the dogs themselves, the 3D voxel dogs, you know. And then we have, you know, the actual rollout, you know, with all the blockchain stuff. And you know, it's really a natural way, in my opinion, to subdivide things. Probably not the professional way, but you know, this is startup 3.0. You know what I mean? So even the fact that as strangers we were able to come together, you know, through the power of the internet and cryptocurrency and NFTs, and really create this amazing, you know, I like to say successful $1 million company, is astounding, and just kind of magic. They're going to write short stories about this, you know, in the future. Just
Right.
kind of like I sometimes, like, I hate to sound arrogant, but I'm getting like Jay Gatsby vibes. You know what I mean? Like he made his money, you know, running oil during that very brief time during the prohibition. You know, he's this new money, and that's kind of how I feel. Uh, the opportunity for people who can make the right connections, put together a project, create a
Right.
vision, and get people to believe in it. Like that's what's possible right now. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's amazing. So, on the marketing front, you guys had a really successful mint. So
yeah.
sold out just in, as we said, just in minutes. Uh, Big gas war then. But what did you do from a marketing standpoint, from a PR standpoint, any of those things beforehand that you think really made the biggest difference? Or, you know, at least you look back on, you say, yeah, that was a smart move that we spent time on that.
It's a really good question. It's hard to say what one thing really worked or stuck. I think it was a combination of a lot of things. You
Go for
know,
it. Give me three
early.
things.
All right. One thing is the POAP contest. We rewarded early holders with a symbolic, you know, NFT called a POAP badge. And POAP, POAP.xyz, is actually one of the most successful, you know, NFT projects out there right now. You know, with their structure, what they're doing, they're just massive. They have tons of Ethereum. They're the ones that put out that fake bid for, or not fake, but that bid on the $9.5 million crypto punk that the guy didn't accept. You know, that was POAP. Okay, so what they'll do is they'll create basically like badges, like you show up, participatory badges. You know, it's called proof of participation
Right.
protocol. And in giving that out, a lot of people just joined our Discord fast because they wanted to get the free thing. Honestly, they wanted to be first. Also, people love to feel early to something, and so I made sure to always give out a role to people in this server after a certain amount of time had passed, like 500. So the first 500 got a roll, the first 1,000, the first 2,000. Everybody who was there at the day of mint that didn't happen, they have a special role. Those are the salvagers. And then everybody else after that, they have a generic role. And, it's just kind of a way for me to see where everybody's been and how they're going. But also I feel like people feel special, and maybe they were hanging around hoping that something was going to happen like for them because of those roles, and you never know, something still might. It's just not a priority right now, and it was supposed to be
Right.
a soft perk. I think that really worked. Another thing, probably humor. We one of our key team members, Dean, he's a whiz at a lot of things, but he's also a humor guy. I hate talking about how funny he is because that's all I ever say about him. You would think that he's like some clown on the team. He's not. He's actually a cryptocurrency genius, but he's actually also absolutely freaking hilarious. And so he made all these really great memes for our Twitter and for our Discord that, just had people up in stitches. And, I think that was effective. So, POAPs, humor, and then last of all, I don't know. I think just having something of quality helps too, like having a project that you can be proud of. We were proud of the animations. We were proud of the dogs. So the sneak peeks looked really good. And I think just having something interesting really helps. Now, the problem with that now is that there's so much competition in this space. There are so many new projects coming out that I actually think that part is more important than ever. You will see lots of clones, lots of, maybe even low effort attempts to just redo the same thing that's already been done. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's a great list. I love it. Okay. So
I apologize. I just need to make sure this is plugged in right. I just 1 second.
I'll take you off the screen there until you get it sorted.
Got that, boss.
Hey, no problem. We'll see if we can get that taken out. Those two.
Yeah. Sorry about that, man.
No, it's okay. I just don't want anyone with vertigo to like fall over. So now you're doing it again.
Yep, that's me. Hey, they call me, okay, so they call me Chef Dizzy, okay? So the chef part is obvious. I'm a chef. I love to cook.
Okay.
But also I'm a little intense, and I can leave people feeling dizzy, you know what I mean? So that's the dizzy part. Maybe you want to leave that in.
Leave it in. Yeah, that's it's amazing. All right. Hey, listen, all authenticity here. 100%.
That's what I'm trying to do. That's kind of my brand, just as a person, is I try to be authentic with everything that I do, and that hopefully extends to the Junkyard Dogs. So
got it. Okay, so let me ask you a different question. So Twitter's been really important for a lot of projects, maybe more so for some than others. But you think you did anything really well with Twitter, or things that you would do differently in the future?
Yeah, I would probably, it sounds silly, it's like a social media manager or a social media marketer. I would hire somebody who actually knows what they're doing, because I think we got lucky. We tried really hard. It was a multi-person effort to really get that going. But as far as like scheduling posts and having constant engagement, and having somebody that was really dedicated to handling that was kind of an oversight that we did not appropriately take care of. And I would have somebody on the team who's really able to do a good job at that, because that is like the most important. That's like the face of your brand. It's how you get seen. It's your visibility. I don't want to say it's everything, but it's almost everything, as far as existing out here in Twitter and whatnot. So yeah, definitely. We didn't hire a professional social media manager or a real professional marketer until later on in the game, and that was an oversight. We were trying to do a lot of stuff ourselves, and I think we did a pretty good job, but it wasn't the best job that we could do, and that was what we should have been doing from the start, if that makes sense. And so I think our new marketing manager, Alex, or Sir Good Boy as he is in the
Yes.
Discord. He's fantastic. He has an amazing professional background. I talk about the dossier, but basically, he was just listening to what we were doing for, the first, I'd say 7 to 10 days. He didn't really offer a ton. And I'm like, what is this guy doing? You know what I mean? Like, he's just listening. I didn't really feel that way, but I was waiting for the marketing part to happen, right? Like,
Sure.
when do we do that? And one day he just comes out and he's got a 27-page PowerPoint presentation with every single facet of what we were doing in Junkyard Dogs, and like a plan, and he had to put on a calendar. And so that was really exciting. And one of the things he says is, my biggest fear joining the company is that I was going to have to push you guys to create content. I was going to have to twist your arm to get things going on. It's actually the exact opposite. You guys have so much going on that your biggest problem is you're not messaging it appropriately. You're not telling people about what you're going to do for 2 weeks before you do it. You're just doing things and then people don't know about it. And so, really trying to hone in on that process where, I'm just, like I said, I'm being blunt. I think that's where we went wrong. And I think that's what we're going to be doing much better from the future, and I'm learning too, from him. I think that's the benefit of being around real professionals, real experts. You can learn from them, in addition to allowing them to do what they do, but as a chef, I spent a lot of time around people who didn't have a lot of talent, or they didn't really understand what they were doing as far as cooking goes. And that was a lot of wasted time, right? Where
Yeah.
when I finally found myself apprenticed to a real master, that was when I was able to blossom. And so I think, what I want to tell everybody out there is that Junkyard Dogs is, assembling a team of real masters in their respective areas, and in the art, in the contracting, in the marketing. And I'm like super excited for what's about to happen, because I feel like we're on a roll, and yeah, it's
Well,
palpable.
do you want to touch on Sandbox?
Okay, sure. Let's talk about Sandbox. We have a 6x6 premium Sandbox lot. It's already paid for. It's coming in a land sale eventually. So Sandbox, we've kind of gone back and forth. It's been difficult. We thought we were going to be in a certain land sale, then we got pushed back, and now we thought we were going to be in the same land sale as Snoop Dogg, but it turns out that Snoop Dogg is picking his partners for that land sale, which honestly shouldn't be that big of a surprise to anybody. I guess it's kind of special, and he's doing his thing. However, they have given us some minor concessions in exchange for that. And actually, this is again some breaking news. I don't want you to blow this up, but JYD has been given permission to create our own Sandbox assets, and mintables. And
Nice.
so I'm really looking forward to eventually putting in Sandbox accessories in our Junkyard Dogs furnace, and continually creating more
Right.
Sandbox usable accessories and avatars. Not a lot of projects have been given this ability and given this status, and so it's really bullish for JYD. Really awesome. As far as the actual construction of the plot goes, that is a work in progress. It's kind of expensive. You have to pay somebody to do it, and the size and scope itself is also very large. And so yeah, it is in progress. We are working, I believe, on the last AMA. We did have one of our designers on there, Gav. He's a really great guy, and we're working on that. Sandbox itself isn't ready to launch yet, and
Yes.
so I'm not super worried about the fact that it's taking time to build the junkyard. It's a work in progress. You can't build Rome in a day, and the junkyard is no different. So
That's fine. And it's going to be a few months out, but the work is being done, and I think people get that.
yeah.
But why did you choose Sandbox? There's other places you could have gone.
I don't know. It's a good question. I think, well, first of all, I just want to make it clear that Junkyard Dogs as a team is committed to being in as many metaverses as possible,
Okay.
So, yeah, we want to be in as many metaverses as possible, as far as having dog avatars. And so, we are working on that, and we certainly want to be in the premier metaverses. And I think at the time, Sandbox looked like it was, and still looks like it will be a premier space. A lot of the
Yep.
big clubs have a plot. Bored Apes have a plot. Gutter Cats. Um, I don't know. I'm sure Cool Cats. Everybody's got some space in the Sandbox, and so it looks like it's going to be a really happening central hub. And we wanted to make sure that we also had our space there. But let me tell you that if something else were to appear in the next 6 months that showed itself to be the clear front runner, Junkyard Dogs would absolutely have a space in that area as well. You know what I mean? It's just a matter of accomplishing that. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I think we see that the metaverse as the natural extension of where a lot of this is going. We are embodied by avatars, and now we're creating 3D representations of avatars, and we have digital property. And so, I think it's a trendy, popular direction that the technology and space is going in. And yeah, Sandbox, I think they're a very clear contender to be the premier space, for sure. I don't know if you've checked it out, but they're
Sure.
doing a lot of very cool things
Yeah,
as
that's
far
great.
as yeah.
Yeah, that's a great answer. Okay. So a lot of good things coming up. You've actually done a lot of good things already. And so I'm a supporter. I love the project. I like a lot of projects that I don't own PFPs in too, but this is one where I was there early on because I like the vibe you guys were giving off even back in July. So that's great. So how should we tell people to find out more about Junkyard Dog? Where should they go?
Well, first of all, I would say check out junkyarddogs.io. That's our website. You can find all kinds of cool, at least like art. You know what I mean? Like you want to get the vibe for Junkyard Dogs. For me, scrolling through an open sea feels too mercantile to absorb the culture and the vibe. So
It's
I think
true.
going to the website is a good place to start. After that, I would search the collection on OpenSea and see if any of the profile pictures vibe with you, if one's speaking to you. Right now, our floor is at a great entry point for newcomers,
Absolutely.
to who want to buy into a community and buy into the space with a project that's going to keep giving. And so that's actually, in my opinion, a really good thing. Twitter also a great avenue for information, and the Discord. So I'm sure you can link the Discord
Absolutely.
information in the bottom of the video, and we're kind of all those places. We're also trying to start a TikTok presence for whatever that's worth, but that's a slow going. But we don't want to leave the market untapped. We've seen that can be a very influential place, and yeah, so you can look for our videos there as well. We actually got we had a contest, a sing along contest. You should have put in a video, Creatorius, to singing along with the JYD anthem, but some random JYD holders from TikTok saw the video and they responded, and they did a cover, and so that was very cool. I
Yes.
wish we could have seen more interactions like that, but
Yeah, that's great. Okay. Well, we'll direct people to that. Hey, everybody, this is the Neftorious Show. We're so happy that Chef was able to join us today. Make sure you like and subscribe. I should have said that at the top. How did I forget that? Like and subscribe. And you were rewarded for coming all the way to the end because now you know to like and subscribe. So everybody, we're happy to be able to bring really educational conversations like this because you learned a lot about how the project formed, what was done, some tips. That's one of the things that we like to do here. Not just talk about the project, but talk about the mechanics of the project so that people can know a little bit more. So I'm Creatorius Rex. Follow me on the Twitter at Creatorius Rex. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Did I forget to say that? No, I didn't. Please do that. And everybody out there, happy hunting.
take care. Thanks for having me, buddy.
Thank you.